Hey guys, Coach Hug here. I know we have been going over chess structures for a while. With this lesson, we're doing the knight and bishop mate, taking a small break. I know we did some talking about the introductory kind of concepts with this mate. It's honestly one of my favorite lessons to really teach. Well, so many. But this one, you connect a lot of concepts. And basically, I'm reiterating the concepts to you guys here. And I'm going to show you a few resources that you guys can use on chess.com to get to this mate and try to practice. And either one should work. So let's do that first, and then we'll go through the mate. So here I'm on chess.com's home interface, and you can go to the little top hat, blue graduation hat, and you can go to endgames, and you can go to checkmate. We'll actually do some of these practices. There's challenge, practice, learn. Learn is a video lesson that may help you guys. Practice is what we're going to do real quick, and challenge is same thing as practice. That's one way to access it. Another way is we go to the home interface again. We go to game history. We go to saved analysis. We go to create new analysis. And then we can say set up position. We can kind of delete all these pieces with the little trash can. We can put a knight, a bishop, king. We could put a king here, anywhere really, and then we can load it up. Oh well, I don't know why it just killed our bishop there, but new analysis. Set up position, delete, bishop, knight, king, king, white to move, load, and then yes, this would be us practicing the mate. We'd go this, they'd go here, we'd figure it out this way. You turn off analysis and have practice that way. That is one way to do it. I think the other way is probably better going back. We go to the play, the home. We can just go to the top hat, or graduation hat, then go to endgames, then go to checkmates, then go to bishop and knight, and here we go with the challenge. Now, the concepts I have, just to reiterate to you guys, is the first one is knowing how to mate when king has only 2 squares, and we see that the practice actually hits this one right on. 2 is cornering the king to last rank. So usually you'll be in a position where you're in the middle of the board, or maybe even a little to the side, and you have to corner them to that last rank. The third concept is knowing that you have to mate in the corner that is the same color as the bishop. So we see here with this dark squared bishop, we're only concerned about this corner and this corner. And if they're at the other one, we would have to nudge them to the other side. And to do that, we will have to consider doing waiting moves with our bishop, and we will have to do the W maneuver with our knight, and it's like the famous knight net maneuver. I'm going to really go slow with one of these practices, with this like challenge, just saying like my thought process is going like kind of slow. And then we're probably going to do a practice where we're trying to go as fast as possible, probably get it around like 3 minutes. For this first one, let's just go over these concepts, reiterate what concept I'm using at like what time. And if you guys ever need to pause, just pause. This lesson is supposed to take as much time as you guys need, and it should help. So let's go over. So here we click start. Okay, so one thing I'm understanding, because we're hitting that first concept of knowing how to mate in this corner, I know that I'm going to want this bishop to see this and this, right? And I know that I'm going to want to get my knight to either f6 or f6 or f8, and that is how I mate and hit in this central square that we need to. I also want this bishop to be able to keep looking at this square, so then I am able to mate this king with in these 2 squares. So instantly what I'm thinking right now is doing like here, 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 here. Very convoluted way. Other ways that I'm thinking of is here, here, here. There could be a faster one. we can try to go over it at our own pace, but I'm going to go with the one that I'm instantly thinking of. So it's here. Actually, this one even looks cleaner. Yeah, here. And then we would have to do like a waiting move with our bishop, but currently we can't do any waiting move with our bishop to try to get that there. So I couldn't really get my knight to f8, right? But there is a mate in 2 here. You guys can pause if need be. But the mate in 2 is considering what we said with getting that knight to f6 or f8. Bam! And then how to finish it, do a nice bishop g7. And see, that would be the first one. And again, this is all that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking that this bishop is doing an amazing job covering this one square, so the king is only stuck to these 2. I'm thinking that I can only really get my knight to here or here, and I'm basically thinking of how to do that. Well, I can't really do it. I can't even do a waiting move with the bishop now, because then they would go here, and if I do here, they go back. There's no way to mate, right? If I go here, I still can't do the knight move. So I'm partly thinking of how can I get that knight to h6. If I really want to be slow about it, I think I could. So one way of doing that is here, here, and I can't go to a6 here, so now I can do a waiting move. I can do this waiting move. And now I go to a6. Now, because my knight is not blocking this central square with c6, I can now just do bishop c6, right? And that's one way of doing it. Now, this is where we're connecting more concepts. So we've hit that first concept. We're going to need more and more practice to hit that one further on, but we're going to go and see how to do more waiting moves with the bishop and the famous W maneuver. So one concept I was realizing that was hard when we were doing this lesson earlier is it's hard to understand exactly where to place the knight for that W maneuver. Because basically you're thinking, right, I can have the knight anywhere. I can have the knight here, and I can go here, 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 here. But no, you actually can't. The whole purpose of the W maneuver is you're wanting to basically get the knight to be able to hit a square that is hitting the king that isn't on the same color of the bishop is one way to look at it, right? This bishop can get this king to not be at this square, right? But it cannot hit a light square. That's why you want your knight on this square. You want your knight to be doing this W maneuver, but you want it to be at a place where it's hitting the king. So it's hitting that king on a light square to get him out of that corner. And again, we're trying to direct them to the right square. We're trying to direct them to this dark square or this dark square. So we're trying to hit them at one of these 2 corners because we can't currently mate them in this corner. So basically here, we'd have to bring our knight here, and this is where it does become a lot of waiting moves. So basically right now, this king is stuck here. If I went here, he could go here. So we kind of want to keep him where he doesn't actually have to get that square. So we don't really want to go king f3. But one way of looking at it is we can go bishop e3, knowing our waiting moves. Because if I go bishop e3, goes up, and I go up, again, yes, he's coming out, but he's not getting to this g1 square. And now I can do a waiting move with my bishop, and another waiting move with my bishop, and he has to come out here. Now this is the hardest part, I think, to understand. Okay, so we're basically getting them out. We're getting them out of that corner, right? But the problem is, how does the W maneuver continue working here? Also, how are we having to deal with accidentally doing a king move here when we don't need to? Well, that's the problem. So if we go here, right, at least they can't go to g5. And if they go back, right, to h3, we would complete the W maneuver with that, with here. And then they would have to come out, and then the king protects, and we're kind of in the same repeated cycle, right? That's the famous W maneuver. So, coach, is that not the move? It is the move, but we have to consider these ideas. If we go here, and let's say they don't go back, what happens if they go over? Well, if they go over, we're now hitting these 2 squares, right? But we can't go and complete the W maneuver, right? We can't complete the W maneuver because then they would just take our knight. So then that's why we go king up. And then wherever move they're going to go, they're going to go like here. We can now complete it. If they go back, we keep the knight there, and we can bring the bishop out, right? So we go knight here. They go here. They didn't go here. So then we go king up. Go here. And I didn't say this part because this is the hardest part to see. They have a lot of moves they could have done there, right? But could only have been on a dark square. They could have gone here. They could have gone here. But either move that they would have done, no matter what, we would have brought our bishop to this diagonal. The reason why is it cancels all the squares it can go to. So if we go here, this is the famous net. Again, we've already completed the W maneuver, like multiple cycles that we're going to continue. And all we're doing now is just moving the bishop and cutting them out. And here, this is where you can mess up. It's very easy to mess up here. You can go bishop here, and what you do is you let him out of the net. But if you do a waiting move, again, that is one of the concepts we have here, knowing the waiting moves, so number 4, basically we've still closed the net, and now we can close it further, right? And now we're basically completing this W maneuver again. We go up, so they could have done that before, but we would have just gone king f5. Again, do a waiting move with the bishop. And now we're still hitting the square. And now we're going to complete the W maneuver one more time. We're going to go over here. And see, now they're doing this other way. We do this maneuver. We go up. We go there. And see, now this is really nice. Basically, we can just, there's multiple ways to do this. We could go bishop here. Maybe it's slightly more annoying. The way I like doing it here is you just go king here. And the problem is, because this knight hits him perfectly, I've always wanted to complete this position where they only have 2 squares, right? And see, now it becomes kind of easier to formulate how I'm going to mate here, because we've been practicing that. I'm going to go e6. They're going to go there. And again, I honestly just want the f8, f6 thing again, right? And that's what I'm getting. I just do a waiting move with the bishop, and then do this, and then I do this. So complete the mate. And then basically we're doing other concepts of knowing how to get that king to the last rank. Usually you can do a lot of moves that are just kind of like, you know, bringing your pieces closer. I try to get the king usually, there's multiple ways to do it. I try to do it where like I'm getting the king further into the center to make it go to a side, and then I start bringing my pieces closer and closer. Many ways to do this part. Here I'm just bringing my pieces in closer and closer. And he keeps coming to the last rank. And see, now I've gone to a place where he is on the opposite side color, right? But I'm going to be doing this maneuver to get him all the way here, right? So we know we want our knight here, so we can just do like, we can actually do the knight here now. We can actually start it. So again, we can start the W maneuver. It doesn't actually have to be there, the king. We just have to have the knight in the right place, and then we just put the bishop in the right place. And now we're starting the famous W maneuver, where we go knight here. And he could go back, and we can go knight there, but now we're having to put our king up to protect the W maneuver. And after we've protected it, and he does the same concept, remember, he can go there, but you still just go like bishop here. You go bishop here, closing that net. See how many squares are being covered that they cannot do anything here. Bring the bishop over. And again, they cannot breathe here. We just go up to f5. Do another waiting move, that concept number 4. Bringing it where we're closing them in more. Then we complete or do the W maneuver again, another cycle. Bring the king up. Bring the king up. Put the bishop here. And then we're going to continue the same concept we were doing before. There we go. We're going to do one more, and then we're going to try to do it really fast. I know this is kind of like maybe a little bit of a longer lesson that we're going to do, but I just kind of want to reiterate these concepts are very ever-flowing here. So again, we're going to do like knight here. Bring our king up. Bring our king up. Just trying to get him where we're getting them to that last rank while bringing our bishops closer, because we know we need our bishop and knight closer in those concepts and those maneuvers that we're doing here. Again, just try to get them into the corner. And again, we know that we want our knight here, right? We want our bishop to also hit him there. So how are we going to get our knight here? That's one way to think about this position. Well, I've already, just thought about it. I can do it like this. Do it like this, like this. And again, we're doing the same concept. It looks a little weird because we're now in maybe like a different row, but it's the same idea. We're just trying to get that W maneuver, and we get it. And again, we're trying to close him out, and he has to go here, close him out, go over, waiting move, close him out. Then we do the W maneuver here. And then we can go king over, bishop here, here, and then we can do bishop here. Again, closing this out, but doing a way to move just to get that knight to h6, and then bishop here. So yes, we did that in 11 minutes because we were explaining it. We're going to try to maybe get this like a new best, but, we're, we're really just trying to explain and hoping that it's coming through to you guys, that all these concepts are being built into this mate, and it's kind of working into memorization, because a lot of it is memorization. And there are going to be times where maybe the person that you're playing isn't doing an exact computer move, right? But really what they're doing is actually another move that we've been seeing, right? So we saw how they brought that king back, right? They brought that king back, and then we had to do the W maneuver again, right? But we're still bringing it. We're just having to bring the king closer at a different time. But all of it is memorization and understanding these concepts. And let's do it again. This time we're going to go very fast, or try to do it as fast as we can. Okay, so here I know what I have to do. I have to try to bring my knight to here, right? So we're honestly just trying to do it in a very convoluted way. There we go. Knight here, bishop here. But again, it was just to get that knight to that square. And again, this one is, I think, a little easier. I just have to bring the knight here. So how are we doing that? We're going to do it this way. Do a little waiting move with the bishop. Do the knight. Do the bishop. And then here we go again. And again, we want the knight here. This is the main thing. So how are we getting that knight to that square? Well, thinking about it a little bit. Okay. There we go. Waiting move, bishop out, start the W maneuver, have to bring the king over, do it this way, do the net, waiting move, net, king over, yes, king over, close them out with the bishop, start the W maneuver, king over, bishop, complete the net, getting them to those two squares, wanting to get to h6, waiting move, h6, mate. Okay, and then we have to do it 2 more times. And it is a little bit easier online. I think you guys know that too. I know all of you play online. It can be kind of an easier mate to do online. You're doing a lot of pre-moves. You're kind of understanding the concepts. And again, I just did a nice stalemate, so there we go. But yeah, you gotta try not to do that. And we can argue that I did that on purpose, which I obviously did not, but but yeah, let's continue with this. There we go. And then again, close them out to those 2 squares. How do we get to h6? There we go. Do a waiting move. h6. There we go. And then again, one more time. We have to close them out, so we have to start the W maneuver. Go over here, close them out. Do the W maneuver. Just making sure. Yep. King over, W, bishop over, bishop over, bishop over, king up, waiting move, bishop closing out, and then again we do the W. So knight over, and he goes back, which he may do this at an earlier date over here when we were doing it over, right? We were doing the maneuver earlier. We still have the same concept of doing this and then bringing king up, bishop over. And now we have the famous here, and we're trying to get to h6. This time, I don't think we'll stalemate. Hopefully we won't, but hopefully we do it right this time. There we go. I think it was this one we actually did it. So yeah, let's not do stalemate, but bring the bishop and knight closer. Bring the knight and bishop closer. Knight and bishop closer. There we go. And again, he's trying to get to this square. So basically, we're going to kind of let him get to that square. Or, okay, he's going to go this way. Again, he could have gone back there, which is totally possible, but I still want him to go there, here. And then we want to get our knight here, so we can go here, here, and now we're at the famous pattern. So again, we're memorizing to this pattern that we're getting the king to the last rank, getting them to this corner. So usually they usually have to go to this corner, and then we get the knight here. It's really, I think the hardest concept of understanding all these, linking these concepts, is knowing where to place the knight. Like, you're having to place your knight either on, like, a6, c6, here. It always matters what corner you're exactly getting the king to, right? And where you're placing your knight to get the... Well, it's always the same, yeah, so it's like here. And knowing when to get that king out of that corner. So again, waiting move, close out. Then we start the W maneuver, king over, W. Then we do the famous net, waiting move, net, king over, waiting move, net, and then we start the W maneuver, king over, bishop, and then we want to get our knight to h6, waiting move, here. And then one more, and then we're done with this mates. I know you guys probably want to just get to some blitz, so yeah, let's finish it here. King over, bishop over, king over, there. This definitely can be one of the more aggravating parts, is when you're getting them to that last row, and they can, you know, spend the time really well here. Okay, just do a waiting move. Then they can go. That would be stalemate. I almost activated a stalemate, so let's try not to do that. Just get them off to a corner. This way. Here. There we go. And then, yeah, he wants to get to this corner, so we'll allow him to get to that corner, but we need the king over first. So again, we want our knight here. So how are we going to get our knight here? Go king over, bishop here. You can get the king there, though, but it's fine, because then we can bring our king here. And then we can just bring our knight or king over. That is actually getting a little aggravating. Okay, and then we need to get our king to the right square here. And again, we want our knight here. So king over, still not stalemate. And then we want to keep the knight here just for now. Just do a bishop move here. Idea is we're keeping him to this 2 squares, and we're just trying to get our knight here. So we go knight over, bishop here, closing out, and now we've continued the pattern. Did a little bit slow on that one, but we still got there. So start at the famous W maneuver. You guys are probably sick of that move, that term, but you'll hear it in your head, and it will help. Knowing how to do it. There. Started it. King over, bishop here. Okay, we did the 50 moves, but we almost had it there, and what would happen was after bishop here, king over, we would basically do knight here, 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 bishop, right? So basically that is the way we would have done it, but yes, that is how you do it. And I think I did want to initiate a challenge a little bit. I have done these 5, but I messed up with this one. So if you guys want to try this endgame, try it here. You can try to get all 5/5, and yeah. So I hope that helped you guys, and I tip my hat, and I hope you guys have fun playing Blitz.